Hey there and welcome back to some Elden Ring. Now, we were in the Altus Plateau, but given some of the random dungeon things we were doing there and how it was tying in pretty heavily with like gravity magic and stuff, I wanted to come back to Caelid and knock out some dungeons in this area. And there's even an item right here that I did not get. Rotten Stray Ashes. Interesting. But if we go and we kind of wander around, we will end up finding that there is a mine right up here. Now you can end up in this mine very early on in the game, depending on what you end up doing, and it is the Celia Crystal Tunnel. Now, not too surprising that you would find something like that near the town of Celia or some other major town, a mine, right? Especially with like the sorcerers, they seem to really have like crystal tunnels and stuff like that so they can get glintstone. But let's read that Rotten Stray real fast. Spirit of a stray dog corrupted by the scarlet rot. Though it is only a small creature, it is violent as it is nimble, and its fangs fester with poisonous rot. Cool. Now, of course, we can already hear some of the miners up ahead because it is a crystal tunnel, some kind of mining tunnel of sorts, right? A little different from the normal ones. They don't normally have big open caverns like this. Very, very spacious, actually, multi-leveled and stuff. Kind of neat looking. And normally, I don't start from this end, so it does feel a little different for me. But we can see a bunch of smithing stones. But there's another thing. What is it? It's one of those pests that arose out of the Scarlet Swamp, the Aeonian Swamp, after the Scarlet Rot bloomed. I'm going to try and leave the miners alone as much as possible. All right, those pests are going to be pretty pesty and shooting projectiles at us, which is really obnoxious. Let's go in here. What do we find? Yoink. Gravity stone fan, gravity stone chunk. Okay. Not to be too surprising, right? I never noticed a talisman looking amulet on his chest that he's wearing. We're gonna have to look at that in a second. Interesting. Look how he's got like crystals growing out. He does look fleshy, right? Which, I mean, before the other thing said they were like, sorcerers that were miners. So it looks a lot like the crystal stuff, and even his eyes are like crystal. I don't know, man, that looks gnarly. So maybe being in the mines and dealing with these crystals is doing this to him. I wish my lantern would stay lit so I could get an actual good look at his talisman thing that he's wearing. Maybe I can zoom it in editing. It'll be good for you guys. After a bit of jumping, we can get to the other side of this like blocked off passage. Oh, hello. Oh, he's like big too. Look at the size of that dude. Oh, jeez. Gonna hide out in here. Yoink. Rock Blaster. Cool. So Rock Blaster, imbue the ferrule of the caster staff with magic, then thrust it into the ground to create a massive magical shockwave. Hold to continue striking the ground, then push off the end of the staff into enemies. An enhanced version of the Glintstone Miner's Stone Digger sorcery, right? So there's the Shadow Earth one, right? It's a sorcery used by the Glintstone Miners of the Crystal Tunnel. At the Academy, use of this sorcery was a stigma that marked out failed scholars. So yeah, so like earlier, I guess I didn't fully remember that description, but in one of the last videos, I was thinking how, you have these, stone digger sorcerers. And so it's like, were they miners that, learned sorceries, or were they sorcerers who were basically sent to the mines because that was just their assignment, they failed, something like that. And that's basically what that one was telling us. It was like, oh yeah, they couldn't do anything else, so here they go. Now they're a miner, and they were able to use their sorceries to help them mine. Look at them there. Chilling. Wish that one on the right looks a lot bigger, dude. So creepy. All those little freaking arms, dude. So nasty. Shield crush. Boom. Oh, he didn't die. Boom. Poke. Got him. What did he find? Faithful's Canvas Talisman. So it's a talisman bearing an icon that depicts a group of masked figures, raises potency of incantations. The figures represent the flock at prayer, their firm belief in the intangible, inspiring even the solitary founder of their religion. What is faith if not an affirmation? So, their firm belief in intangible, inspiring their firm belief in the intangible inspiring even the solitary founder. So they're solitary founder of the religion, and just by having this flock in prayer was enough to inspire them. And they're masked figures. I wonder why they're like masked. It kind of makes me think of House Mirais, right? And what do we find it by is these pest things that have stuff to do with rot. And what was Mirai into? He was into rot. And now we see what the boss is in this one. Look at what we find. What should have probably been our first falling star beast. There he is. Definitely a lot weaker than the other one we found, right? Because he's, you know, earlier area. Ooh, broke my shield guard. Not to be surprised, honestly. Kind of hoping to get a guard counter on. Oh, he dodged. What a jerk. Boom. Big hit again. Fully charged. Oh, again. We're going to do one of these and then back in. Oh, are you serious, dude? I'm getting really tired of just being slightly out of range of these, of my thrusts. At least I got the regen going. And look what he's found on again, right? I found again on one of these, like, meteorite things. Now, this one's much smaller than the other one. And so, obviously, this guy's kind of weaker, maybe? Maybe it's like foundational meteorite is just not nearly as strong. And in. Pow. Big thrust. Boom. Big stagger. Nice. I missed him. It's fine. Pull back. And then shoot. Oh, there's a big explosion. Hey, jerk. I thought I was going to be able to dodge that somehow. Alright, it doesn't matter. We're going to win. Good job, bird. Still needs a name. Can't think of a name for that bird. Somber Smithing Stone. Smithing Stone is Grouty Stone Chunks. Somber Stone Miners. Bell Bearing 1. Alright, yeah. So, again, bunches of stone stuff. And I wonder if it's because they're made out of stone, right? And so you're basically getting the materials that they are made out of. Maybe, right? Now, right here, kind of outside the impassable Great Bridge, right, of Castle Redmane, there is a sword thing that we didn't get before. I did pass by it when I was trying to farm some random things, and there was a beetle that got us Crag Blade. So, like how those star callers would thrust their things into the ground and pull it up with a bunch of rock. It's the same Ash of War, basically. Like, we can use it on our weapons. But this says, the Star Scourge Conflict. Radon alone holds Celia secure and stands tall to shatter the stars. So it was like some conflict. Like, it definitely made it seem like it was like, I almost want to say extended ordeal, right? Like, it wasn't just like some one battle per se, but Celia secure by Radon, and he stands tall to shatter the stars, right? Here's this dude. I want to mention, like, look how nicely kept his horse is. It's like armored. Like, it's pretty legit. Like, the Redmane Knights are legit, and I like how it's just this like solid, just like iron armor, as opposed to like the Lanedale Capital Knights. It's all this like gilded gold and stuff. Like, these guys are like solid like soldiers, right? Like, that's how they feel. But there's a beetle there. It's a trap, because if you look right above it, look, there's a bird. But just beyond the bird, we find ourselves a set of catacombs. The Caelid Catacombs. Now, the beast eye is not quivering right now, so there's no death blight or whatever in here. Death root. I like how this kind of, it's like sprouts going up and holding the surface. There's like light from the surface kind of coming up through here too. Bunch of Miranda flowers. Cool. Ghost Glovewort. Oh, a skeleton, of course. Yeah, alright. So remember how I was talking about before? There's like the skeletons that come out of the ground are like covered in this black goop. These skeletons do not have that, right? They're different in that way. Why are they different? I don't know. I don't know. I guess because they're in the catacombs and they're not coming up out of the ground, so they don't have goop stuck to them. Yeah, there it is. Miranda Sprout. Ashes, Grave Glovewort. So spirits of sweet little Miranda flowers, carnivorous blossoms that feed upon human flesh. They creep slowly, scattering toxic pollen, vulnerable to fire. do take care of the little darlings. It's interesting that, you know, it calls them like sweet little Miranda flowers. Take care of the little darlings, like they're innocent, cute little things, right? You know, they're just plants, dude. Which I guess kind of makes sense. I mean, why would we like hate on them, right? Like, what have they done wrong outside of just being a freaking plant, you know, trying to murder us or anything like that? What have we got? It's one of those things. Cemetery Shade. I wonder if they can bleed. They don't really have a whole lot of body to them, so I feel like probably not, huh? Poke. Look how, again, abdomen's all kind of decayed open and stuff. Oh, I'm in trouble. Ooh. Oh, the sword's like kind of chink open. Ooh. Can I backstab him? It's got like 2 open wounds on his chest. It looked like 2 holes. Huh. Kindred of Rot Ashes. Oh, okay. So we've been calling them pests because we have the pest glaive, but they're called Kindred of Rot. The spirit takes the form of a crawling pest, its chitinous body making a dry rustling sound. Attacks enemies by secreting sticky threads. The Kindred of Rot are the servants of the goddess of Rot. Servants that have been forsaken. Huh. Yeah, so they... And see, like, Gowry says something too, right? When he talks about how they're at the church where Millicent's at, how they, like, foolishly worship her. So that kind of lines up with, like, what that said there, that they've been, like, abandoned by the goddess of Rot. Which is really a shame. So, like, why would she abandon them, you know? Like, if they're her servants, you know? Alright, so there's one more spot for us to really hit up here, and it's right over here, way back at the beginning. We never touched on it, which is kind of weird because it's like right there, right? And it's a minor Erd tree. Kind of hard to miss, honestly, but we were so bent on following the road and seeing stuff that I just completely bypassed it. But you can see there is a very clear path that goes along here. We can see there's the like minor Erd tree guardians. Again, you know, even though it's all rot blighted and stuff, here they are guarding it just like always, even like with the worm things. Oh, we get the guardian sword spear. We'll have to check that out. So even though there's, you know, like other things happening here, like they still like hold to their duty, right? They're still being reborn. Now in the distance, you can see there is a big old building. One, we can really see the Erd tree pretty clearly. Another divine tower, along with that one right there was Grank's bestial sanctum. And look right there, it's a giant jar, and he has arms, not even just like an empty jar. There is a path that leads up there. There's an item right there too. Huh. I'll have to try and get that. I don't know what that is. I don't remember. But they're hanging out. There's an Erd tree thing right up there. But the spear, weapon comprising a long handle and broad blade sharpened from the hard wood of old trees, which is a lot like the Erd steel dagger, right? Wielded by guardians of the minor Erd trees known as experts in the arts of combat. The power of this weapon scales greatly with dexterity. So they're masters in weapons and combat, which is kind of cool. I mean, you would want your like guardians to be pretty good combatants, right? Again, you know, it's interesting, you know, there's all these pots and stuff around these minor Erd trees, but like we do know what's in them, right? And that's like meat, right? Meat, bodies of some kind. So why would they be by the Erd trees, these minor ones? And they do have Erd tree symbols on them, right? But it's not the same as like the one we see for like the Erd tree seal incantation stuff. Like it's different, right? It's not the same. Oh, hello. Putrid avatar. So not just like Erd tree avatar. And look, it even looks like it's got kind of like scaly, reddy bits too. Like it looks kind of nasty. And then what does it shoot out? It shoots out scarlet rot because it is putrid. It's been like corrupted, and you can see it on the staff too. The staff is not the same. The staff should be that like kind of bowl look. This one doesn't quite have that anymore. It's got a different design to it. It's got a different color. Oh, I'm gonna get hurt. Oh, bummer. Yoop. So I wonder, right? Because that one is normally just like a big gold shockwave. So do they have any of the gold left from the Erd tree? There's a good R2. Ouch. Get a little bit of healing. We can heal up just like that. Yeah, and I mean, it even looks kind of bloody, right? I mean, that could just be the scarlet rot looking red, right? And it's not actually like blood meat per se. Same thing, bunch of different tiers. Now, if we kind of keep going and we like look around this thing, we will find some catacombs. The Minor Erdtree Catacombs. Hey, little tiny imps. Been a while since we've had any of them, I think. There is an item, right? Sometimes the descriptions and like information to some mysterious things in the game come from very like innocuous places, like very like you wouldn't think to check on like throwing daggers to tell you about like imps or something, right? But there is an item, and it's the crystal darts, right? These are just like auxiliary weapon used to constrain enemies' movements, blah blah blah. Can be deadly in the right hands, kind of the same thing. Nothing like super fancy. This one does tell us it was cherished by raptor assassins, but the crystal dart consumes FP throughout the enemies to deal magic damage. It's chiseled from impure crystal, but long ago it is said that a golem crafter employed a similar crystal tool. So some kind of golem crafter used those things. And I mean, what kind of golems do we see? We see the great guardian golems, right? There's also these little imp things. I mean, to me, these are golems too. They're just little golems. There's some Aeonian butterflies, grave violet and the like. More of these. Ah, big fleshy blobs. Okay, not a big surprise, I guess, maybe. More sludge dropping down. Oh, I did not want to roll in it. There is a path over there to the right. Some more stuff right here. I'm going to use... That's unfortunate. I was going to use some soap if I had it, but I don't think I do. Oh, look how he's different. He's got like little chitinous bits, like bugs, right? Some kind of... oh, what's the word? I want to... some pod. Something pod. I don't remember the word. But, you know, these things change based on their environment. So is it still just, like, fleshy bits from, like, people that, like, basically melted down into this, like, still sentient blob? Or is it just from anything? Like, are they the goopy remains that are coming from a, you know, a kindred of rot? Or did it consume the kindreds of rots? And that's how it got that, like, the goop in it, you know, the different, like, little chitinous bug pieces. Imhead wolf. Does it say? Oh, I've already gotten that one. Largely unaltered head of an impish golem. See? Impish golem. See? Alright. Good old boss time. Let's see what's gonna be. Probably two of them. Now, check this out. One. Oh, messing it up. Messed up. Oh, I'm getting jacked up. Look at that. Look how it messes him up. Oh, he's even got like, look, it's like little bubbles around him. Oh, he's getting messed up by that dude with his staff. Yeah, look at him go. All right. It's pretty cool, right? It took me a lot of those crystal shards, but hey, you know, whatever it takes, I guess. Mad pumpkin head ashes. Yeah, so the crystal darts, you know, something about them, maybe that they're impure, made from the same fashion where they were used to make them, it somehow disrupts them. But I thought it was interesting that they were like, what it looked like to me, little bubbles around their head, which is a lot like the oracle bubbles and those little claymen that infest the dynastic ruins and look for their oracles and bubbles or their whatever, you know. So I thought that was interesting, and especially, I mean, they're from some old dynasty of some sorts maybe, and these things are from some old time as well, I would say. So, I mean, I guess it kind of lines up, but let's take a look at our mad pumpkin ashes now. The spirit of a mad soldier with a large, brawny physique. Though he has stifled his panic within the dark confines of his helmet, he rampages as if driven mad when agitated by bloodshed or the humming of insects. This mad soldier is all that is left of a broken gladiator. Now we see, like, there are those, like, arenas. We find them before, and then we have this ritual sword talisman, right? A talisman pattern after swords used in ritual combat to honor the Erd tree. Practice had died out by the age of King Consort Ratigan, but remains of the arenas where ritual combat took place can still be found in every land. So, like, we see them around in places, and these gladiators would have fought in there, right? But obviously the practice died out. So then what are they left to do? Just be like soldiers, I guess, mercenaries, and then they went crazy. And how did they do it? How did they try to stifle their panic? By putting some big friggin' bucket on their head. All right, we want that item. It's somewhere over here. Oh, Guardians dudes right here. Interesting. What the? Where? Whoa, where are you guys coming from? What is happening here? How are you guys showing up? What the? You guys are just like sprouting up out of nowhere. Were you all in that tree and I didn't look? Ugh. All right, there's the item. We gotta drop down. A rune arc, of course. Nothing exciting, but oh, look way over there. A golem with a glowing blue bow and arrows. But what is that blue kind of like? It's a golem. But what else? What did we have that's kind of talking about golems? Impure crystal using FP, dealing magic damage. Crystal tool, something, right? Connections? I don't know. It's awfully coincidental that we're seeing it now when we're talking about the crystal darts and then going in there. Did I plan it that way? Who can say? But thanks for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And, you know, some more kind of random stuff, kind of interesting, you know, just more random tidbits to start pulling in. And some of it doesn't seem like it's much of anything at first, you know, stuff with like the Miranda flower or finding just the falling star bee stings and those other kindred of rot stuff. But as we keep going and we keep getting more and more of these like little pieces, it's going to all keep kind of coalescing into some other bigger pictures that we can keep like bringing back and tying into each other, right? And then we can keep seeing a bunch of the recurring themes appearing like all throughout the game from like the very beginning. I mean, even like those miners, right? The one dude are supposed to be sorcerers, but like when you look at them, like I always assume they're like stony, right? And a lot of those dudes, like, yeah, they are like stone. You look at them, they're like literally stone. But those guys definitely weren't like that before, right? They were sorcerers. But he had like crystals sprouting out of his body. And we see that happen with the dragons. When the dragons start consuming the sorcerers, what happens to them? They start growing like glintstone. With the, you know, Exeeks or Ekizikis or however you say his name, it starts, you know, corrupted by rot. Like there's all this like corruption and conversion that happens to various things based on their environment. And so these miners transforming like that kind of makes sense, right? And then on top of that, you even think about like how there's supposed to be some kind of life like born from falling stars, and then you have these falling star beasts. But then there's also like the onyx and alabaster lords have that same effect in gravitational things, but they look like people, right? So are they also born from falling stars? Are they something else? You know, like as we go, like more of these things kind of come together and it all starts like meshing up and lining up, right? Yeah, but thanks again. Thanks again for checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I always appreciate it when you do. And yeah, until the next one, take care.